After a couple of years, it was kind of, getting a little bit of the itch and wanting to come back. And yeah, and I was excited to get an opportunity here. And I love coaching summer baseball, and it's a lot of fun. And I think it's great for players.
Welcome to episode 280 of Alberta Dugout Stories, the podcast. I'm Joe McFarland. The 2024 Western Canadian Baseball League season is finally here. 12 teams will be vying for the right to hoist the Harry Hallis Trophy in the middle of August, 7 in Alberta and 5 in Saskatchewan. There are plenty of storylines to get to heading into this season, including the potential of a three-peat for the Okotoks Dawgs, the entrance of the brand new Saskatoon Berries, the return of the Edmonton Prospects, the international flavor of some of the rosters, and the youth movement of sorts where plenty of local talent is being given a chance to leave their mark on their respective teams. To get this 2024 WCBL season preview extravaganza underway, let's start with a man who burned through many keyboards and computer screens over the last little while, putting together a team preview for each of the 12 teams on our website, albertadugoutstories.com. Our very own Ian Wilson joins us now. And Ian, I hate to admit this, I'm sorry. It's been a while since we've had you on the show. This is actually your debut for the 2024 podcast season, so I apologize. And I'm also kind of impressed that you picked up the phone in the first place.
Yeah, I guess. Yeah, I don't know what to say, Joe. I thought about not picking up when you called, but yeah, here we are. I'm a sucker. I'm a glutton for punishment.
We are just a texting relationship at this point, is how it sounds. Texts and emails. Anyways, yeah. I think it's going to get better because the baseball season from a WCBL perspective is underway. I know we're going to cross paths a few times during the course of the year. How excited are you to get the summer going?
Super excited, especially, we've had some rainy days lately, and I'm ready to shake that off. I feel like I'm watching my dog get out of the bathtub, just shake off all that water and get some sunny days outside and all the fun stuff with being at the ballpark, the smell of the cut grass and the hot dogs in the stands and bubbly one and the crack of the bat, all the cliche stuff about baseball that you know and love. I'm ready for all of it.
Absolutely. Now there are a ton of big storylines that we'll be following this summer, but I get the feeling that there's maybe one or two that might be top of mind for each of us. What happens to be top of mind for you right now?
I think from a team point of view within the Western Canadian Baseball League, the big question is going to be, can the Okotoks Dawgs have a three-peat? Can they win a third consecutive championship title, which wouldn't be the first time in their history they've done so. I think the years were 2007 through 2009, if I'm not mistaken, that they accomplished that feat. But that, everything from Okotoks, the last few seasons just indicates that it's got to go through them. You've got to, if you're going to win the championship, you got to take down the king, and that's going to be interesting because I look at their formula of coaches and deployment of players, and they seem to have nailed down a real winning formula. So I'm very curious to see if anyone can change that. And having said that, the last two finals did go the distance. They went the full 3 games. So it's not as though there's been no intrigue there.
Mm-hmm. And obviously Okotoks does return with a bunch of veterans. Sylvan has a lot of newcomers, but some key returnees as well as some really new faces that have a good solid base of Division I talent. Fort Mac keeps growing. Lethbridge and Medicine Hat are always in the conversation. Over in the East, same kind of thing. But one roster that really kind of sticks out to me is the new Saskatoon Berries. This isn't going to be your typical expansion team. I get the feeling of Joe Carnahan's put together a lot. We're going to hear from him in a second. But when you look at that team and that roster, you did all the work behind the scenes in putting those season previews together. What sticks out to you when it comes to the Berries?
But they seem to have be a well scouted, well put together team with some Saskatchewan content, which is what you want to see, right? And actually, honestly, players aside, I look at that coaching staff and I'm just kind of blown away because not only do you have Joe Carnahan, who's seen it all, done it all in this league in terms of player accolades and coaching accolades. He's got on his coaching staff, Chance Wheatley comes over. He was the head coach of the Lethbridge Bulls. So he can provide some more recent insights to the league. And, Andrew Albers is your pitching coach, long-time pro and former Major League player, and a great international player for Team Canada. And just from all accounts, an all-around great guy and with a teaching background. So that's some good people to have around you, guiding you through this season.
Absolutely. When you look across the board, is there anything that really sticks out to you with the 12 rosters that have been assembled? Is there a theme or something that you really noticed when you're diving through all the stats and going, okay, this talent base is like this? Give us a sense as to what you saw.
Yeah, I don't know if I see league-wide themes. I kind of approach every season as though it's its own kind of thing, because a lot of the stats, I'm not a big stats geek, and I don't follow super closely the difference between NCAA divisions 1 through 3 and JUCO, and I don't know all the equivalents there. I'm going to be honest about my ignorance on that. So it's hard to know which stats stack up the best, and I think too, some of these coaches are able to find guys that you look at the stats and you're like, I don't know, like this, I don't know about this player, but they know some things, right? Either that player just hasn't had a chance with that school, or he's was injured the previous year and is just ready to go. And then same with pitching, especially. You see guys who are just used as relievers and they come out here as starters, or vice versa, and have success. So, I'm always a little bit reluctant to call any shots that way. You look at last year, Eric Radicek, Brooks Bombers is a great example. Mm-hmm. He kind of came out of nowhere and I think he had some injuries and had been passed over by some schools. Comes up here, has a great season with the Brooks Bombers. He's named Rookie of the Year. He's among the home run leaders. And, you could easily be like, oh, yeah, well, he plays in Brooks and the dimensions are small there and things like that. No, he goes to Niagara this year, sets a record for RBI. He's the conference player of the year. So there's all these players that just kind of emerge as diamonds in the rough. So I never really know, to be honest, who those players are going to be. I just get more excited about, keeping an eye on that and seeing who those players are going to be.
The other exciting thing, I think, in my books anyways, when I look across the roster, is the local talent and the young local talent. I hearken to a young Matt Wilkinson in 2021 when he comes up, and you knew he was okay. You knew he was good. 2022 rolls around. He's doing all kinds of crazy things and ends up to the place where he's at now in high A in Cleveland system and continually impressing us with his performances. I look at this year's crop of rosters and go, there are some young kids who are either fresh out of high school or going to be fresh out of high school who are on the cusp of possibly either getting drafted in MLB or going to a legit Div 1 school. I look at Nathan Flewelling in Sylvan Lake as an example. I know you were in Okotoks for their media day earlier this week. They've got a few guys. Benito Bonilla seems to ring a bell. He's a former guest of the show as well. Like, there's a lot. Every team seems to have one or two or three of those guys who they're like almost grooming to be the next generation of WCBL stardom in the not too distant future.
Yeah, Fort McMurray is another one that does a good job of incorporating some of the high school players from that area. And you mentioned the Dogs. I kind of look at the Dogs 2018-19 when they had guys like Ricky Sanchez and Alejandro Cazorla, and you mentioned Wilkinson. They were just kind of starting to emerge as the next wave of guys. And then you look at the Dogs now, and you've got the Erics. You've got Eric Hartman and Eric Matchich. And you've got Benito Bonilla, as you mentioned. And, I did speak with Bonilla yesterday, and he looks every part, the athlete and the ball player. So I'm really, he wasn't even a guy I highlighted in the season preview I did for the Dogs. But I'm excited to see him on the field and see what he's capable of. And I think you need, Saskatoon as well has some guys at the high school level on their roster too, I believe, that it could pop, you know, and you mentioned Sylvan as well. It's exciting to see some of those guys and see how much of a factor they can be. They definitely, in the case of the Dogs in the playoffs last year, they were a factor, not even necessarily in the regular season, but when the playoffs came around, a lot of guys had to leave and go to their schools for the next season. These guys stepped up and produced in a big way. So that's always a fun aspect of this league and this, as the season progresses, what can happen.
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, you look down the road as well, Lethbridge and Medicine Hat both, whether it's Vauxhall or whether it's PBA, or there's that ability to grow from within. And it's really exciting to see. I know in Regina, they're doing the same thing. Saskatoon, Swift Current's got a bunch of locals. So both sides of the border, both divisions are going to be stacked with local talent and some pretty darn good talent from a D1 all the way down to a JUCO. So I heard one player call it a melting pot, and I couldn't agree more. It's such a cool league to watch. So on that note, one of the things that I really love about it too is the investment within the community, and whether it's the Viterra kids camps or whether it's just the days of the diamond that the teams have, like there's a lot of effort, I feel like, going towards the fan engagement piece. Walk us through what you're seeing in the backside of the WCBL's inner workings. What kinds of efforts are underway to make sure that the fans are first and foremost heading into 2024?
There's a lot of stuff going on. And I should note here, for those who don't know, I am a media coordinator for the WCBL, so that covers off some of the reason you're asking me about that. For one, there's a brand new website that has been launched recently. So that already it's fantastic. It's such an improvement over what was there. And that is constantly still being improved and worked upon. You mentioned the Viterra Kids Camp. I believe there's over 600 kids that participated in those, and that happens in every WCBL market. And, it's WCBL players who are teaching these kids. The kids get a ticket to the game for that evening. It's just a great program. And so that is part of the community engagement that you're seeing. We're seeing some growth with Home Team Live, which is the streaming service that we use. That's in every WCBL market, so you can watch all the games on Home Team Live. And also we haven't actually announced this yet publicly, but we are going to see a game of the week of the Western Canadian Baseball League on the Wild TV network. So through your cable providers, you'll be able to find every Thursday night, and then some specialty dates as well. You'll be able to find WCBL games. So there's just a lot of growth in terms of promotion, partnerships, sponsorships. And just, I think it's just that the league is evolving and growing to another level, which is great to see.
Absolutely, because as we kind of have alluded to in the past, if you can see it, you can be it. And if the fans are engaged, the young fans are engaged, and they'll one day want to be wearing the stripes of their favorite teams. So it's fantastic to see, although I have to admit, because you and I both share an email inbox, my phone basically runs dry battery-wise by the middle of the day because Ian is busy at work getting all that news and information out and the website stuff. I got to say, dude, congratulations to you and the entire team behind the scenes doing everything that you guys are doing with the website, with the social media, all of it. It has really come leaps and bounds. And I was joking with Joe Carnahan about how far the league has advanced since his days as a player. And you're going to hear part of that conversation in a little bit. It is phenomenal what his insight is into how this game has evolved here with the WCBL. So kudos to you, Ian. Thanks again, as always, for coming on the show. And I promise we'll do it again before too long.
Sounds great. Look forward to seeing you at the ballpark soon.
One of the more interesting stories that came out earlier this year is one from Ian on a new baseball supplier for the WCBL. They've signed a new 2-year agreement with Diamond Sports to provide what they call the ultimate baseball. More offense, good for the hitters. Not so great for the pitchers. Ian chatted with League President Kevin Kvame all about the process, as well as the hopes with the new piece of rawhide.
Kevin, I do want to talk the physical baseballs that are being used in the Western Canadian Baseball League. You've got a new baseball supplier. Just maybe walk me through some of the process of finding a new supplier in Diamond Sports and what you were looking for in new baseballs for the league.
Well, we had baseballs are round. They all have the same number of seams, and unless you actually cut them open, you never really know how dense the core is or how they're manufactured. And our deal was up with our previous supplier, and there was a little bit of I would say shenanigans going on, and we wanted to make sure that we were getting the best option out there for our baseballs. And so the league voted that we would do an RFP for supplying the official league baseball for the next couple of years. We had several bids come in. So I believe it was the University of Oregon or Oregon State came to Okotoks in September. And we collected all the baseballs and sent it to Okotoks. And they did some exhaustive testing of all of the baseballs that weekend in Okotoks. And it really came down to when we sorted through all the statistics and the analysis of the baseballs that there was 2 baseballs that stood up that we would be happy with. And then it came down to pricing, and good for Diamond Sports for stepping up and becoming the official baseball of the Western Canadian Baseball League for the next 2 years. We're excited, a new partnership, a new partner, then a new baseball, but I can honestly tell you it's probably going to look about the same when it's on the field. It's still a baseball, but to the fans, but it will have a new name on it, and we're quite excited about it.
You mentioned some of the testing and whatnot. Can you peel back the curtain or maybe the seams of the baseball a little bit there and get into some of the things that the average fan might not know? Like, is there just either how the seams lay or things like that, the things that the baseball players, coaches, and teams are looking for?
Well, some of the stuff is like the raised seams versus low seams. That's more a preference than anything. Really what we're looking at is how the baseball is built. I mean, the Rawlings we were using the Rawlings ROMC baseball, which is what they call a collegiate level baseball, and it really didn't stand up. CCBC also used that same baseball, and you look at the stats over 2 years of that use of the baseball, and our power stats almost plummeted 50%. So something was wrong. Now maybe the pitchers thought that was cool because. Anyways, that's a side note.
It's the ultimate battle. The pitcher, who wants to be happier, the hitters or the pitchers, right?
Well, the vote was 11-1 in the league to go with a different baseball. The one team that voted to keep the baseball had a pretty good pitching stats last year, so you might be able to read a little bit into that vote that why they thought that it wasn't that bad of a deal. But you get into the core of the baseball, and there's right in the center of it, there's a rubber plug, basically a round ball. And then around that, there are stitchings that the tighter they are, the more the baseball is going to carry. And then there's some yarn, and there's some fluff and some other stuff that builds around it. And then you get to the leather cover of the baseball. And we just think that the difference is that it's not as tight and as condensed in the previous baseball that we used. Now the Rawlings baseball, their one up baseball from the RMC baseball was of pretty much equal caliber. So we think it was built the same as the Diamond baseball, and hopefully we're gonna treat the fans to more home runs, more doubles, more triples, and harder hits. We test the exit velocity when it's coming off the bat, how it feels to the pitchers and how far it goes on, that kind of stuff. And, we're happy with this baseball that we're going to showcase this year.
With being in Canada, of course, there can be some extreme temperature swings in this part of the world. Is durability, you kind of touched on a little bit with the CCBC experience, but does durability of the ball become a bit of an issue or a concern or an interest, I guess?
Well, we certainly don't want the ball to go flat on one hit. And we've seen a little bit of that with the previous ball. We collected a couple of home runs. We had the home run king of the league in Torin Vasilenic last year, and we collected a couple of his balls, and they after one hit were flat on one side. So it was kind of funny that he managed to still hit it that far with not a lot of pop coming off the ball for him. But we think that that's going to help the durability. I mean, none of these baseballs last in the game that long because we're away from the days where a lot of people bring the baseball back for a loonie or a toonie or a candy bag or things like that. It's almost turns into a joke that no, they'll take them home or maybe they'll bring them back and sell them to us for batting cage balls. But the number of balls we go through in a game, the longevity of them, it's just important when they're getting hit for a few times that they're not going to have their shape distorted.
Maybe a few stats you can throw at me. How much does the league, if you can answer this question, how much does the league typically spend on baseballs per year? And how many balls does the league go through or a team typically go through in a season?
Well, I'm trying to think what the number, maybe too much we spend. But let me think here. We spend about $80,000 to $90,000 a year on baseballs as a league, and the league goes through just under 12,000 baseballs in a year.
And any wacky baseball trivia? You touched on with Torin's balls that he hit, but either running out of balls in a game, things like that. Any kind of strange things, or someone hitting the cover off the ball? Has that ever happened in your time?
I haven't heard about that. I mean, the most unique one I've heard about over the years is back in the day when Yorkton was in the league, and they were very protective of their baseballs because they only tried to go through 10 dozen in a season. And God bless Bill Sobkow, the late Bill Sobkow, who ran that program for a number of years. They had volunteers at the stadium, and heaven forbid if you chased the foul ball down, you were bringing it back, or they were sending the police after you. That's about as good as it gets.
That's commitment.
Yeah, that's commitment for sure.
Hey, Kevin, a pleasure as always. Thank you for your time.
As mentioned, one of the big storylines going into this season is the expansion Saskatoon Berries. Now, it's been a decade since a WCBL team called Cairns Field home after the Yellow Jackets left back in 2014. Saskatoon Entertainment Group, which runs the WHL Saskatoon Blades and the NLL Saskatchewan Rush, came to the plate and was granted a franchise last year. And since then, they've been busy with a phenomenal approach to their social media game, especially when it comes to the Berries moniker. Another big piece of the puzzle was bringing legitimacy to their dugout, and they did that with the announcement of Joe Carnahan as their new head coach. He spent years as a player and then as a coach with the Swift Current 57s and remains very active in Saskatchewan baseball. As we did last year, we'll try to bring you regular conversations with coaches around the league. And this time around, it's Joe Carnahan of the Saskatoon Berries, who is itching to get back into the WCBL. Coach, thanks so much for joining us here on the show.
Thanks for having me.
The inaugural season of Saskatoon Berries baseball is finally here. How excited are you to finally get this season going?
Very excited. Just, you see the vision from the start, or you listen to what the vision is at the start in April, and then through June and July, and then start to see it unfold throughout the winter. And then, over the course of the last 2 months, it's really grown, and just the things that are happening at the field and with the social media and everything that's going on. I'm really excited for it.
Let's go back in time a little bit. You mentioned last April. Take us back to that point when you start having those conversations with the Saskatoon Sports Group. What excited you the most about getting to take the reins of this expansion organization?
Just the vision. Mark Campbell called me right over first and kind of just seen if there's an interest and gave me a little bit of their vision and said definitely there's an interest. And then Steve Hildebrandt called and he filled me in a little bit more on their vision and it was pretty much a no-brainer. It was, with what they're planning to do and how they're going to do it and just the support they have as far as the organization goes. And then just the city of Saskatoon, it's a nice city, it's a sports city, and it's a great destination for players to come to.
It's one thing for an organization to have a vision as to what they want to put on the field. What was it that you were hoping to put in front of them? What kinds of things were you hoping to bring to the table for the new Saskatoon team?
Just the ability to get some good players right away and make sure we're competitive right away. And just be able to be involved in the community myself. And once our players get up here, be involved in the community. And one of the best things is there's so many good players here in Saskatoon. Just get a core group of Saskatoon guys right away and then kind of build off that with guys from all over North America.
I was going to ask about that. How important was it for you to get some of that local talent on this team? And what does that bring to Cairns Field?
That brings a lot. I mean, that was one of the first things, what we want to do is lock up a lot of the kids from around here that are down at school and having success down there. And just a lot of things as far as the excitement within the city and the fans. The players are excited to represent their own city. And just with the new guys coming in that are new to Saskatoon, just having players that are familiar with the city to kind of help them around and just guide them that way.
How impressed have you been with that local talent down south? And I look particularly, Peyton McCarg went off this spring, and Carter Beck is a freshman of the year. Like, you've got some really good talent, and it's not just, I don't want to call it tokenism, but you've really got some really good, talented young players coming out of Saskatoon and out of Saskatchewan as a whole.
Yeah, I mean, it's ever since even when the Yellow Jackets were in the league, when they started in 2002, and then throughout the league. After they weren't in the league, there's always been good players from Saskatoon. You look at their minor baseball at every level, up into high school. They always have talented players. You look at Team Saskatchewan, they're always players from Saskatoon are always well represented there. So, as far as the talent goes, in the city alone here, and then in Saskatchewan in general, there's a lot of talented players.
Going into it, did you have an idea as to what kind of team you wanted to assemble or the identity that you wanted them to encompass?
Yeah. I mean, just wanted guys who are going to come to the field every day, work hard, play hard, and just want to make sure we were physical and athletic. And looking at our roster, I got a good feeling with what we put together, and we got a lot of talented players who kind of fit that mold, and now it's just a matter of coming together as a group in a short period of time and putting it all together.
You've been around the league for a while now, and you know what it takes to win. You won as a player, you won as a coach. When you go into that first team meeting, what are the kinds of things that you're hoping to impart upon the players?
The key is communication and building relationships. Especially this year, there's a handful of guys that know each other, and that's it. And a lot of the guys don't really know me at all either. So it's going to be very important for us to build relationships, communicate, build a trust, and then off of that, everybody does better once that's established.
One of the things that I've always taken away from this league is obviously the end goal is to win a championship for the team, but also to see some personal improvement. What kinds of things do you try to impart on the players in terms of making sure they're getting the most out of their playing time, whether it be on the mound or they're hit in the box or on the field?
We communicate with the coaches, throughout the season, and then before the players actually come up here, kind of some things what they're looking for their players to improve on, and see what the players' strengths are and things to improve on, and then just do a lot of individual stuff with them throughout the day before the game and in the afternoon and all that, and with our coaching staff, I feel we have a very good coaching staff that's going to be able to really help develop some players.
Speaking of the coaching staff, I'd be remiss if I didn't talk about North Battleford Zone, Andrew Albers. What's it mean to you to have a guy like that who's got that Baseball Canada experience, that MLB experience as a guy to guide not only the pitchers, but I think the roster as a whole?
Well, he's played at the highest level, and he's not only played at the highest level, he's a good person, obviously a good work ethic, and the knowledge that he brings is going to it's going to be awesome for the guys and for the coaching staff in general.
Mm-hmm. Friday, June 14th, Saskatoon visits Swift Current for the first time. Have you thought about what that's going to be like, given how much time you spent with that organization?
To be honest, not too much. I just trying to focus on getting our roster assembled right away, and then now trying to focus on getting the guys here and that first game in Regina.
Mm-hmm. When you think back on it, you spent so much time with that organization, and then you had that break in between. And I asked this of you off air. Did you envision a day where you were going to come back and be a part of the WCBL again?
Yeah. I mean, it was a good little break. It was kind of, it ultimately happened because of COVID, and the league shut down, and then the Saskatchewan teams were shut down for a second year. So that's kind of how that all happened. And then after a couple of years, it was kind of getting a little bit of the itch and wanting to come back, and now I was excited to get an opportunity here, and I love coaching summer baseball, and it's a lot of fun. I think it's great for players.
Mm-hmm. On a personal level, I've loved the rollout of the Berries brand as a whole, right from the get-go. It's got that, I'll call it minor league baseball feel to it. Like, it's a fun feel, but obviously it's business on the field. How much of the fun aspect of it are you hoping to bring into the night-to-night game day experience for the players, but also for the fans?
Oh, a lot of it. I mean, that's what baseball is. It's supposed to be fun. Everybody plays better when they're having fun. And like we talked about development and stuff, you're going to work harder, you're going to play better, and you're going to win more games ultimately. And with what the organization has planned for this summer, it's going to be pretty exciting as far as the fan engagement goes, and as far as the player engagement goes, and all that. So it's going to be a fun summer that way.
It's been a decade since Saskatoon had a team in this league. It's been, as the league president Kevin Kvame told me, it's been this kind of black hole on the map. They've wanted a team there for a long time. What's it mean to you to be able to be a part of the resurgence of that and build something new and really try to put, I'll call it, the college baseball scene back on the map in Saskatoon?
It's a great opportunity, and it definitely means a lot to me, and it's one of the reasons why I took the job is to be able to help create something here and kind of start from scratch, and with the vision of the organization has, and I know I can be a big part of that as far as the on-field goes, and it was just a great fit. Like, city is a beautiful city. It's a sports city, and it's definitely a destination that players would want to come to, and it's going to be great for the city and as a whole, and the fans here.
And that's got to be a cool thing too, is it's not just about the college experience, but even you think about Berries Academy as an example, and being able to give those young kids who are just starting out on their baseball journeys in Saskatoon minor ball as an example, to be able to say, hey, here's something you can aspire to down the road.
Well, and that's what it's about. It's not just about the 2.5 months that the college guys are here. It's about being involved in the community year round. It's about being impactful to young baseball players, and hopefully someday they're playing for the Berries, or just contributing to baseball throughout their adult life, and just loving the game. And that's ultimately what it's about, just bringing a passion and love to the game, from the rookie ball all the way up.
Absolutely. Got one final question for you, Coach, before we let you go. It's one we ask everybody here on the show. What does the game of baseball mean to you?
It means a lot. I mean, when you look back and you just see all the people that you're still talking to, and kind of where you're at in life and everything, and one of the things that's the common denominator is baseball. Like, the relationships I built, the friendships I have, everything kind of goes back to it happened because of baseball one way or another. Either played with a guy, or met somebody because I was at a different city, and so forth. So I mean, it means a lot to me, and that's the thing. Just want to build that passion for baseball, with everybody.
Absolutely. Well, Coach, really appreciate the time. Congrats on all the rollout to this point. Continued success in Saskatoon, and with everything that's going on with the Berries, and looking forward to seeing you at the field soon. Thanks so much again for joining us here on the show.
Thank you very much for having me.
Time to hear from a couple of players who have made waves during their respective spring college seasons and will be looking to be key veterans on their WCBL squads this summer, as both will be looking to get back into the league final. We'll start with Logan Grant, who's coming off a phenomenal season at Bellevue University. He hit .346 with 20 home runs and 66 RBI in 53 games this season, en route to being named the North Star Athletic Association Player of the Year. He was also named a Gold Glove winner. This will be the Chestermere native and Dawgs Academy alum's fourth season in the WCBL. After stops in Sylvan Lake and Swift Current, this will be his second season with the Dogs, and he hopes to bring another championship home. Logan, thanks so much for joining us back here on the show.
Thank you for having me again.
The WCBL season is fast approaching. You're coming back to Okotoks as the defending champion. How excited are you for the coming year?
I'm super pumped. Obviously being the defending champions and just the atmosphere and the fans, it's really exciting, and I just can't wait to get back.
Lots of familiar faces on the team again this year. When you look at the group on paper, what are you expecting out of this team?
I'm expecting a lot of what we had last year, and even, I would say better. A lot of the guys that are coming back we had last summer had some phenomenal springs, so it's gonna be fun to watch.
I'm going to talk about the spring in a couple of minutes, but let's look ahead a little bit. You clearly have that target on your back as the defending champion. So how do you stave off that pressure and make sure that you're bringing your best game in and game out and make sure that you are back on the top of the podium at the end of the year?
I think, we just got to go in and just have some fun. Like you said, that was kind of our goal last year was, enjoy it and really take it all in. So I think just making sure that we're having fun, not putting all that pressure on ourselves. I think things will fall the way we want them to. So just enjoy it.
Looking back on last year, in your mind, what was so special about that group that allowed you to, because you were defending champions again, like this is a three-peat opportunity here. So what was so special about that group last year that allowed you to overcome some of that adversity and come out on top?
I think it was our ability to, like I said, just enjoy it and have some fun. But I think we kind of had a little bit of a grittiness to us where, even if we got punched in the mouth or down a few runs, something like that, we were able to keep a cool head and just grind our way back into the game and find different ways to win.
On a personal level, do you have any expectations or goals of yourself heading into the summer?
Not a whole lot. I mean, I just kind of want to get back and get into the swing of things, and hopefully I can have a good summer again, and we'll kind of see how things go.
It never hurts as well that you get to come home and maybe enjoy some home cooked meals. And you and I were talking off air about this, but I want this piece on air because I love having fun, and I know that your mom is probably listening as well. What is the go-to meal in the Grant residence when Logan comes back home?
Steak and potatoes or ribs.
Is it barbecue, one? And two, how do you like your steak?
Medium rare.
Medium rare. See, I used to be that way, but now I'm kind of like more of a medium guy. As long as it's not walking away and as long as it's not burnt to a crisp, I'm usually fine with it. So we're good.
Yeah, I can agree.
Awesome. So you're coming off a heck of a spring with Bellevue, including NSAA Player of the Year. How happy are you with your performance, first off?
I'm super pumped with it. It was awesome to see, things continue to work out and things go well for me. But, like we said, it kind of sucks. The season didn't end the way we wanted, but, I feel like, I kind of did what I could and gave us a pretty good opportunity, going into the national tournament. So I was super happy with how the season turned out.
When you look back on it, especially at the plate, what do you think was the key to all of your success?
Just taking a deep breath and, remembering it's just baseball. You can't overthink it. Don't put too many expectations on yourself. Once you start thinking in the box or thinking your swing is the problem or that you need to get a hit, that's when things start to go wrong. So just go in, take a deep breath, and just, go hit the ball.
The numbers kind of speak for themselves, and I asked this off air as well, and I'm curious what I want the listeners to be able to hear it as well. Did the power numbers surprise you at all? Because 20 home runs is no small feat in college ball.
No, for sure. It didn't really surprise me. I kind of always felt like I had it in me. Obviously getting a little bit older now, being in my fourth season, getting a little bit stronger, a little bit more man strength, I think, behind the ball kind of helps. And just not trying to hit home runs, just kind of putting good swings on and letting the ball do letting the ball do what it wants to do. So, not a big surprise, but it was super cool to see.
Mm-hmm. Was there anything in particular that you worked on in the off season to make sure you were able to improve upon what was a great first year with the Bruins, but also maybe to build up some of that, as you called it, some of that man strength?
Just making sure, getting in the weight room and doing that and doing things right. Taking care of my body, obviously catching, 40 plus games a year is hard on the body. So making sure that, I'm feeling good and ready to go. In the off season, we kind of worked on some lower half stuff and, I kind of simplified my swing even, and just worrying about more contact with the ball versus trying to hit the ball hard.
Mm-hmm. We focused a lot on the hitting side of things, but you were also named a Gold Glove winner. And I'm curious how much pride goes into the defensive side from your standpoint. How impressed were you to be able to get that acknowledgement as well?
I was super pumped. I mean, that's a pretty cool award to get. This year I kind of focused a little bit more on my defense. Last year I felt pretty solid behind the plate, but I just felt like there was things to be done, and I worked a lot of extra hours defensively, and it was really cool to see that it did pay off. So
I know took
a little more pride in it, I think.
For sure. I know watching you last year with the Dogs, you kind of became a bit of a utility man. You were playing a little bit of catcher, but we saw you out in the outfield. I think you had a few reps at infield as well. Is that something that you're looking forward to this year as well, as maybe getting a wholesome approach to the defensive side of things?
Yeah, getting out in the outfield a little bit will be awesome again. I kind of have the same role here a little bit. Started the year I was in the outfield and moving around there, and I kind of just want to be in the lineup. Put me somewhere, and I'll try to make the plays and do my best out there. It'll be really nice to kind of get a break behind the plate, not catching day in, day out. So it'll be nice for the body to get a little break out in the outfield or in the infield.
We had Jaden Babiak on the show a couple of weeks back, and he was talking about how he's played basically every position, and he kind of hinted at the idea of playing all 9 positions in one game. And I'm curious, is that something that's ever been on your radar?
So actually with Swift Current, I was able to do that 2 summers ago. So that was pretty cool. Not a lot of guys can do that, so it was a pretty cool experience.
How did the pitching side of things go?
Not well. I am clearly not a pitcher. Never really pitched a whole lot growing up as is, but I think that one outing will be enough for me for the rest of my career.
Not wanting to do it in front of a Siemens Stadium, full packed house crowd?
Oh, I would totally be in for it. It wouldn't be pretty, but it'd be a pretty cool experience.
Absolutely. In front of 4,500 or 5,000 strong, that wouldn't be a bad thing at all. A couple more for you before we let you go, Logan. When you think ahead to this year, you look at that roster, and one of the things that stands out to me is, and you kind of alluded to it earlier, is there's a lot of guys on that roster who have done some pretty cool things stateside in the college ranks. Talk about that side of things, being able to watch some of your teammates, whether it's Tucker or whether it's even some of your past teammates like Cole and Alejandro and some of these guys. Like, talk about being able to watch their successes while you're also succeeding on your own terms.
It's awesome, seeing some of those guys that I grew up playing with, in high school even, and we get the chance to play together in the summer, and then getting to see them performing really well at the college level is awesome. We all still kind of stay in touch and, chat here and there. So it's awesome seeing those guys doing really well. You love to see the Canadians especially doing well. So
anybody in particular you look at on your roster and go, man, I'm stoked to play with this guy again, or maybe for the first time?
I would definitely say, I get the chance to play with Brendan Luther here at school as well. And, he's a lot of fun to watch play. He plays the game hard, and he's one of the best players I've gotten a chance to play with. And then obviously Nash Kroll, the guy just hits the ball hard, and it is so much fun to watch, and it is not a lot of fun to be on the other side of it. So I'm super excited to get the chance to play with those 2 guys again.
Yeah, absolutely. Final question we got for you, Logan. We've asked you the usual one about what baseball means to you, but I am curious, what would it mean to you to win another WCBL championship?
It would be awesome, getting to bring that back to Okotoks into the city. getting to be back home and do that in front of a lot of families and friends that I know there would be awesome. I mean, obviously everybody wants to win, and that's the best feeling you can get. One team gets to leave the season happy, so I expect and hope that will be us this year again.
Well, Logan, really looking forward to seeing you at the park again soon. Congrats on all the success down at Bellevue, continued success in Okotoks and beyond. And again, thanks for joining us back here on the show.
Thank you for having me.
And finally, nobody likes to smile more on the field than Brody Gardner. The Asheboro, North Carolina product was phenomenal with the Medicine Hat Mavericks last year, being named to the WCBL All-Star Game, then garnering the team's MVP award after helping guide the Mavs to the league championship, where they lost to Okotoks in 3 games. He's back for a second season this year with big dreams, especially after a fantastic spring with Greensboro College, where he hit .395 with 4 homers, 36 RBI, and 17 stolen bases en route to being named first team all-conference. Brody, thanks so much for joining us here on the show.
Thank you for having me.
Opening weekend is finally upon us. How excited are you to get things going?
I'm super excited. We've got a pretty good squad this year, it seems like, especially on paper. All the guys are getting in. A lot of guys got in last night. Me personally, I got here on the 19th. So we've been working ever since then, getting ready to go.
So when you look at that roster on paper and what you're seeing so far, what do you think this team is going to be bringing to the table?
We've got some really good bats in the lineup, but we really do have some arms this year, it looks like. I haven't got to see many of them throw, but from the way that Kevin Mitchell, our head coach, is talking, and then Coach Mo's talking, we've got some really good guys.
You came within a game of winning it all last year. What needs to happen in your mind to make sure that you come out on top this time around?
I'd say really just sticking together, playing as a team. We did it really well last year, and I think if we continue to do it this year with the team that we have, we've got another shot.
Let's talk about that run for a minute. The season started all right, but you really turned it around, especially in the second half there. Had an unbelievable playoff run as well. What was it that led to, I'll call it, getting the lights turned on, so to speak, and you guys really saying it's go time?
I think just that willingness and just want to be there. Sometimes you can get teams where it's like you start off really, really good, and then your guys are starting to get tired and they just don't want to be there anymore. But all of our guys they stuck with it the whole time, and I feel like that was a big part of it. Just everybody wanting to be around each other, everybody wanting to keep getting better, and everybody wanting to win.
On a personal level, you had a fantastic season, an all-star, just a force in every way. You were named the team's MVP as well. What was key to your success during that season?
Really just staying relaxed, even in pressure situations, even when I wasn't doing well, just knowing myself and just trusting my work and the work that I put in behind the scenes, and knowing that I can do whatever it takes in any situation, just in having that confidence in myself. And even when I wasn't doing well, just keeping that same confidence, because I knew one day it was going to turn around.
You have a bunch of new faces in the dugout this summer, and now that you've been through the grind once, you know what it's like. What kinds of advice are you imparting upon those young guys getting their first taste of the WCBL?
Take care of your body and take care of your mind, for sure, is the big one. Just knowing yourself, knowing what it takes to stay healthy and just stay relaxed, too, because, at the end, it is a lot of pressure, but it's not at the same time, if that makes sense. It's like you just got to go out there and have fun, but know you're getting better while doing it.
Speaking of the fun side of things, you are back for a second year. What was it about Medicine Hat that drew you to it in the first place, and what made you want to come back?
Definitely the fans and the coaches, just the way that the fans are so into the game and so bought into it. I love the atmosphere of it, and then the way the coaches just they continue to push you and continue to help you all throughout the year was definitely a big factor on coming back.
You're the product of North Carolina, and so I'm curious, was there a bit of a culture shock coming from down there to the north of the border and coming to Canada, where maybe the expectation wasn't exactly that it's going to be a baseball town, so to speak?
Yeah, I was not expecting it to be this much of a baseball town, for sure, because I know back home we play some really competitive ball, but when I got up here and I saw the fans and the atmosphere of almost every stadium you go to, it's like, wow, these people really love their baseball, and it's amazing. It makes me smile every time I step onto the field. I love it.
We were talking off air about this aspect too, is that you're playing in a town that's got a pretty rich history in baseball, including some minor league baseball with the Toronto Blue Jays. Talk about being able to play in that park and get to see some of the history and talk about the history piece too.
It's awesome. It's awesome knowing some of the people that have played on that field that we're playing on every single night. It's amazing. Like our general manager, Coach Morrison, I mean, he played on that field, so it's just like awesome. It's an unbelievable experience. Mm-hmm.
Let's talk a little bit about the spring you had, because you had a phenomenal year at Greensboro as well. 395, 4 homers, 36 RBI. The numbers kind of speak for themselves. You also broke the school single-season hits record. So how are you feeling about the spring you had?
I'm feeling good. I know there's still more work to be done, though, for sure. Like, I know I can continue to better myself every single day, and that's exactly what I come up here to do, is just continue working, continue getting better for the people up here and then the people back home also.
Take us into the trenches a little bit, and what kinds of things are you hoping to work on?
I'd like to steal more bases. I mean, I stole 17 this year at school, but I'd like to bump those numbers up more. And then more doubles. I think I hit 13 or 14 at school, but if I could bump that number to like around the 20 number, then that would be perfect.
Mm-hmm. You were named first team all conference as well for your efforts. What did that recognition mean to you?
It meant a lot, because last year I didn't get it as a freshman, but I was like, all right, so now we got to really get to work. And so that's kind of the same thing. I come up here, got to work with Coach Mitch and Coach Mo. They really helped me, and then it helped me bring it back to school too, just all the things that they had taught me. And so it meant a lot. It was a lot of their help that helped me too.
Very cool. It sounds like it's been a collaborative approach, and also something that's been building and building and building. And so let's take us back to the beginning a little bit here. How did Brody get into baseball in the first place as that young kid growing up?
So I was 4 years old, and there's this place at home called Lamb's Baseball Field. It's in Seagrove. It's around where my grandma lives. And I think I may have been 2 when we were going to watch a game, and it was like bigger kids playing, and there was like a foul ball that come out, and I went and got it, and I grabbed the ball and told my mom that I was going to go play with the big kids right then and there on the spot. And she continuously told me that I was too young and too little, and then when I rolled around the age of 4, we got a bat and a ball in my hand, and then I never put it down and fell in love with it ever since.
Very cool. When you were growing up, did you play a lot of different sports, or was it all baseball all the time?
I played a lot of different sports. I played basketball. In high school, I ran cross country, played basketball and baseball.
Very cool.
So it's always been a lot of different things, just trying to keep the athleticism in it.
For sure. When you were growing up, did you have a favorite baseball team or player?
I'm a Yankees fan. So I was a Jeter fan, and now I'm a Judge fan. So I've been stuck with the captain role of the Yankees, and I've stuck with it ever since. I love them.
Absolutely. Not a bad team to cheer for, especially as you're growing up, and not a bad couple of players as well. When you look back on the young baseball journey to this point, any favorite memories or moments where you're sitting on the ballpark and you just kind of had to take that step back and go, man, I can't believe I get to do this?
Definitely my first collegiate game, and then my first collegiate game up here last year in Athletic Park. It was 2 of the biggest moments in my life, and it's just amazing the opportunities I've been allowed to do.
Do you remember that moment when you were growing up when you went from, hey, this is a cool game, it's fun, to, hey, maybe I got something here and I could maybe chase this thing collegiately or more?
Yeah, I do remember that. I was about 13 years old, and it was after a little travel ball tournament. And I told my dad, I was like, I'd like to do this for a living one day. And then ever since then, we've put in countless amount of hours and work. Me and him just trying to get me the best I can possibly be.
Obviously, baseball is a game of failure, and so we talked about the highlights. How about those lowlights? Talk about maybe some of those things that you've encountered that you've been able to overcome, or the adversity that you've been able to withstand over the course of your young career. What's maybe the biggest thing that you're proud of?
The last couple years as I've worked on the mental side of the game, I always struggled. I always had the physical capabilities, but I never really had the mental capabilities. And I figured out as I was getting older and older that if I let my mind take over, then I'm not going to be my 100% like I can be. So I have to keep my mind as calm as possible. And I've really started to do that the last couple of years, and I've really seen a big improvement.
Very cool. A few fun ones before we let you go here, Brody. First off, when you're a fan going to any ballpark, what's that go-to food that you got to have?
Oh, go-to food? Me personally, I'm just a hamburger fries kind of guy. That's me. But I do know at Okotoks, my mom come and she got the brisket there and she said it was really good. And then the food trucks at Athletic Park, too. You can't beat those either.
For sure. When you're getting a burger, what's the toppings? What kind of condiments are you into?
Ooh, I'm a plain kind of guy. I just go with, I'm a cheese and ranch kind of person.
Cheese and ranch. Now, I'm a ranch guy and a cheese guy, but never thought about putting it on a burger together. So now I have something to aspire to. So thank you for fueling the fat kid in me. When it comes to your walk-up tune, which one's your favorite?
Last year, I was Dancing in the Country by Tyler Hubbard, and I really like that one. It's a nice little groove to go up to the plate to, so I think I'm going to do that one again this year.
Got to keep, if things are going well, you might as well don't fix what's not broken, right? So when it comes to ballparks, what is the favorite ballpark that you've ever either been in playing-wise or as a fan?
I have to go with Athletic Park. I have to go with it because, just the atmosphere of it. I love it.
That's not a bad one. I've been lucky enough to have worked in Medicine Hat and worked many games as a broadcaster there. So it's a real good one, and a lot of really nice improvements to that park in the last couple of years too. So good choices. Couple more for you here. It's a couple standard ones we ask here on the show. First off, you get to go back to Athletic Park. There's those kids who are asking for autographs or maybe some words of advice on how to get their game to the next level and get in your shoes one day. What's that one piece of advice or those words of wisdom you'd like to impart on the young kids starting out on their baseball journeys?
Smile and just trust the process. Because I feel like if you've got a smile on your face, then you're still having fun and you're not taking it too seriously, even though it's a really serious game. But you can also have that happy medium where it's fun but also serious at the same time. I feel like fun is the most important thing. You have to enjoy it or you're not going to be your 100% at it.
Smiling all the way around the bases for Brody Gardner. Really appreciate the time. One final one. It's the one we ask everyone here on the show. What does a game of baseball mean to you?
The game of baseball to me means happiness. It's my happy place. And I'm very, very blessed to be able to play the game at the level I'm playing it at.
We've been really lucky to have you here on the show, Brody, and preview the upcoming WCBL season. Really appreciate the time. Congrats on all the success you've had to this point. Continued success with Medicine Hat and beyond. And again, thanks so much for joining us here on the show.
Thank you.
Thanks again to Ian Wilson, Kevin Kvame, Joe Carnahan, Logan Grant, and Brody Gardner for joining us this week for the WCBL season preview extravaganza, and thanks to all of you for downloading and listening. We hope you enjoyed having 2 episodes drop this week. We'll get back to our regular Thursday schedule next week, but make sure to hit the subscribe button as you never know when we might drop another bonus episode into the mix, especially during a busy baseball season. As always, a tip of the cap to our platinum supporters for all they do for us and for baseball in Alberta. The Okotoks Dawgs and Under the Lights Sports and Entertainment have been fantastic partners in helping us tell the game stories in our province. Their generosity helps us cover costs like web hosting fees and online subscription services. For more on our teammates, head to albertadugoutstories.com/supporters. Until next time, thank you for all of your support online, on social, and on air. of Alberta Dugout Stories.